Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel and welcome back to Best of Publishers. In this series I talk about different publishers and my favorite games from them. Today we're talking about a publisher that has been up and down and all over the place since they first coming, and that's Cheapass. This company started by James Ernest way back in the day. I remember their philosophy was, hey, when you buy a VCR, this is back when VCRs were around. When you buy a VCR, you don't keep buying a VCR every time you buy a new movie. So that's what we're doing with these games. We're going to give you the game, but these pieces that you use in all the different games, like dice and tokens, we're not going to provide them because you just get one set of those and use them for all the different games. And these games were, as in the title of this, cheap. Now, as time went by, they made some games that weren't quite so cheap. They also made some games that did not have that were color. A lot of their games were in black and white for a while. There was an offshoot for a while called Titanic Games. I'm not really sure exactly how the two companies corresponded. They had a bit of a resurgence. I mean, they were off the picture for several years. They came back a few years ago, and they kind of float in and out. So it's interesting. They had a lot of really tiny games that came out. They were very cheap. I never really agreed with their philosophy. I think a game should come with all the pieces that it needs to have inside it. However, they do have some pretty interesting and neat conceptual games, sometimes really wacky humor. James Ernest has some really off-the-wall type humor, but here's the different games. Number 10 is some of this humor that he has. This is Unexploded Cow, which means you got these cows that you need to get rid of, and there's landmines laying around, so why not mix the two? It's a bit of a take-that game, a bit of a combination. The theme is silly fun. And also, really weird fun, but the gameplay is a little bit more unique than I thought. Number 10, Unexploded Cow. Number 9 is a very clever pipe game. There's a lot of these games where you are putting cards down and connecting two things. This is a two-player game. One person's the white pipes, one person's the black pipes, and as you put the cards down, you're trying to make different loops and different things with the cards. Simple, easy, but it has more depth than you might think. Number 8 is Before I Kill You, Mr. Spy, which was, I believe, originally Before I Kill You, Mr. Bond, until they were told they may not use that. Then I think they called it the totally unnamed spy game for a while. But either way, this game is a kind of a push your luck style game as you're trying to get different spies out there. But whenever you play a spy or hide a spy, there's a chance someone will steal that spy. And when you have a spy, you capture him, you need to monologue a bit, because the more you monologue, the more points you'll get. But the chance that the spy will escape is then higher. Silly fun, but there's actually, again, as with many of these games, there's more than meets the eye in it. Number 7 is Deadwood Studios. This is a game about making movies and getting the different people you need. It's actually a really good theme for a game, as you have these, B-movie sets, like Western set or different things, and then trying to get the right people and place them in the right spots. You're using dice to do this, to get points for putting out different movies. Number 6 is The Big Idea. Now, The Big Idea has been co-opted in recent years by like Snake Oil and other things, but The Big Idea is the first game, I think, where you basically put some cards together, had some sort of crazy invention, and then you had to sell it to everybody else. Now, this doesn't work necessarily with shy or reticent people, but it really, if you're outgoing and enthusiastic, you can really make this game fun, and they did put a lot of interesting, silly card combinations in it, The Big Idea. Number 5 is one of their most famous games, and that is Kill Dr. Lucky. There was a sequel, Save Dr. Lucky, but Kill Dr. Lucky has done well enough that it came out with a deluxe edition eventually from Titanic Games, and then just recently a anniversary edition, which was an odd date because, again, this is just the warped mind of James Ernest. But in Kill Dr. Lucky, it's the prequel to Clue. Dr. Lucky's walking around. You were all in his mansion. You are trying to kill him. The problem is, to kill him, there needs to be no one who can see it. So as he's moving, you need to try to get him into a room where different people can't see him. And at the same time, you want to always be watching him so other people can't kill him when, you don't want to do it. And then when you do try to kill him, players can play cards, and it's like he bends over to pick up a penny just when you shot at him. Things like that. It's a silly game. The first edition I wasn't too keen on. It was okay, but each edition added a few things. The spite tokens really helped the game out a lot, and it certainly is unique. Number 4 is Fish Cook. Now, this one is more recent in the resurgence of the company, and this is just essentially an economic game as you're getting different fish and then selling these fish using dice and the different fish that show up. I was very impressed with this one. Again, I went in with pretty much like, okay, let's just play this. And when it came out, I was like, well, that was actually a sharper cleaner economic game than I was expecting, Fish Cook. Number 3 is Camden. Camden, which basically Camden, I believe, was kickstarted, but the original game came out a long time ago, and this was about the different markets in Greece and how they all just build up anywhere. And this is a unique tile laying game, extremely unique, because in most tile laying games you need to put them edge to edge. In this one you can just place them anywhere you want on the table, which is amazingly cool. I really like that it gives you kind of ways, okay, so if I turn this one this way, and it gives you the indication of the Agora Greek markets, which was the original name of the game, Agora. But then fires and different things can also burn down the markets. I think it's a very clever game. Number 2 is Tak, or Tak. I Tak, the game that's based on the very popular Kingslayer Chronicles series of books, but it's actually a really good abstract strategy game. As you 2-player back and forth, it feels like a classic old game. They did an excellent job with this one. You definitely want to check it out. We just reviewed it a few weeks ago. And then my favorite game from Cheapass Games is Lightspeed. Lightspeed, which actually was reprinted just a couple years ago from Stronghold Games and Artipia Games. But Lightspeed was a game in which you have these spaceships that are all shooting, and you're trying to mine these different resources, but also shoot the other spaceships. So you say go, and you're pulling these off and just throwing them on the table. You stop, and then you start scoring. And some ships shoot first, and then you use a big long ruler to see where they shoot. Oh, they blew the ship up before it could do it. Oh, you hit the ship's shield. You shot your own ship. So much fun. Really love this game, Lightspeed. So those are my 10 favorite games from this company, but you know what? I bet people have very different ones. He has all kinds of weird and strange things. Devil Bunny wants a ham, or needs a ham. There's all kinds of crazy, interesting games. Do you agree with the philosophy that they had? It's up to you. Tell me in the comments. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been Best of Cheapass.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.